All right, welcome everyone. This is week number 10. That is right, week number 10 of your 7314 class, which is your reference class. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin. And today we're going to get into just a couple of the career databases that are helpful for you to know. I believe Mizzou has at least one or two of the three that we're going to look at really quick. They will not have lynda.com, and I don't know about the other two, but put your skills to work, because all you have to do is go onto the Mizzou Libraries website and verify whether or not the Mizzou Libraries have those two databases. However, I will tell you that they are common databases at public libraries, and I will be accessing them through the public library, Mid-Continent Public Library here in the Metro Kansas City area. So again, if you do not have this access with your public library, your local public library, then check and make sure that Mizzou has the access. And you can also chat with the librarian to see if Mizzou offers anything similar if they do not offer this specific or these specific databases, which I know they do not offer Lynda. So with that said, let's get into these databases. Again, if you really want to master them, then you need to go into them and get some practice with them on your own time. But what I am here to do is to show you that A, they exist, and B, use my experience to let you know when you might be using them in professional practice. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first one that I wanted to show you, and again, I am on the Mid-Continent Public Library database here. And so it was quite often, especially with students who were still working on their gen ed classes or hadn't yet gotten into their majors. A lot of times freshmen, sometimes sophomores, you would see that they would have to do these like career guidance sort of assignments, and they would have to write about a career that they were interested in and get information on the careers such as trends and salary and needed education and so forth and so on. And so there were specific databases that we showed the students how to use in order to get to that type of information. And one of those databases was this one right here, Ferguson's Career Guidance Center. So I am going to go into Ferguson's right now, and I think I'm going to go into Ferguson's right now. I hope this Zotero thing doesn't keep me out of there. All right, let me pause for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm finally in Ferguson's, and actually from what I'm seeing here, it looks like Ferguson's may have gotten quite a bit of a revamp since the last time I have been in it. And that is actually a good thing. It looks like we've got quite a few neat little new features in here, and they probably needed that revamp because sometimes these days you can probably actually get a lot of the information that you can only find on Ferguson's through simple Google searches in open access sources. So in order for them to continue to have or continue to convince libraries to keep shelling out money for these databases, they probably did need to add some content, and they have done just that. So the first thing, and we've got a very convenient main menu here. So the first thing that I actually wanted to do was go in here because I believe that either this is an entirely new feature or at the very least it is something that they've now made more prominent on their database page, and that is the career assessment. So what you can do with this, and you have more instructions here, but this career assessment is something that can be given to students in order to help them determine what types of careers may be good matches for them based on personal traits that they have, interests, and that sort of thing, strengths, weaknesses, what have you. So it is good that they have added this assessment, and it looks like they have two different versions of the assessment. They've got a 30-question assessment or a 60-question assessment that goes into more detail. So if you have a student, and you will have this sometimes, I had this at the community college, and I had it when I was working at Coastal Carolina University with undergraduates, well, freshmen and sophomores in particular, who were trying to figure out, they were in their first semester usually, and trying to figure out just what they wanted to do, what they might want to major in. And so a career assessment is always a good thing to have on hand for them to do that. And sometimes instructors may even want to know what career assessments they can give their students in order to help them pick majors and navigate college a little better. So if they are looking for a career assessment now, please remember you can find one in Ferguson's Career Guidance Center. I'm not, of course, going to take the assessment right now, but you are more than welcome to take the assessment and then let me know what you think. I would be very interested. Now, the second thing I wanted, and I think that this setup that I'm seeing right now is a lot better than what I used to see with Ferguson. So things are working for the better. But one thing that I would definitely have my students do, or one thing that a lot of professors would definitely have their students do, is browse actual professions and things that they may want to do. And yes, this listing here is more convenient. You can use filters and everything to try to draw down your industries or what types of education levels you may need or what type of job skills you may need. So for instance, you can cut this down to what do you need, what careers would require or at least strongly recommend a law degree, and you can check that filter. And as you can see, it filters out a lot of things and only gives us 21 results. You see 21 results here. Whereas prior to that, when we didn't have that check, there were 1,115 things to choose from. So, this design has gotten significantly better. You all are in for a treat. Ferguson was always good, but it was never this good. So as you can, and what they do is they have things that show the cutoff. So basically, yes, you have 1,115 things here, but they probably all at some point required a high school diploma or high school diploma equivalent in order to even get your foot in the door to the cutoff education level that you needed. But as you can see, there are only 345 things that are listed as just high school diploma, which probably means that's where the cutoff is. Okay, and so if I click that, as you can see, we're down to our 345 things. And this is very neat that you have video included here. That's pretty cool. And I would imagine that they will add more and more video as they go on. So let's say you were actually working at a community college, because community colleges were my favorite. When I worked at the community college library, that was actually my favorite job that I've had. And so that might be associate's degree right there, where we have 145 results. So I'm going to uncheck high school diploma and check associate's degree. And so let's say that you do have students who come in and they say, I'm just getting an associate's degree. I'm not going any further than that. What you can do is you can check that associate's degree box and see what is offered. Now, you might not want to just stop there, but this is a quick way to get into looking for what some options might be. Now, let's say you do that, and let's say you come to adult daycare coordinator. That's actually a pretty cool one. So we'll start off with the first one there. You can select the career, and then as you can see, and this is what a lot of students find helpful, is you do have a listing of quick facts here. You have an overview, and then you have a listing of quick facts. And as you can see, let me move myself here. As you go down this table of contents, you would get to other things that are helpful information that's more in depth. But the first thing you are going to want to look at are the overview and the quick facts, which are conveniently on the landing page for you. As you can see, for adult daycare coordinators, the median salary is $33,750, but a lot of people in metro areas are actually probably making quite a bit more than that for the same type of work. Remember when you were dealing with students that you let them know what median actually means, because a lot of times they will not know that. And so they might look at that and think, wow, what a low paying career. But this is nationwide, and they need to keep that in mind. Like, I'm from an area where the median household income is $21,000. So, if you're making $33,000 in my hometown, you're sitting pretty. But that's not the case for somebody, for instance, who lives in Kansas City. Certainly not the case for somebody who lives in New York. And then as you can go down the quick facts here, you'll see different things. Minimum education level, duties, career ladder, employment prospects. That's a big one. Employment prospects and advancement prospects, though, and outlook. These three things here are things that the students need to know a lot. If the outlook is not looking good, they need to know that. If there are not opportunities to advance, they need to know that. And if there are not many opportunities to become employed, they need to know that. So, those are three things that you want to direct the students to probably immediately. And then you can get into some supporting information. So when you have students that are actually writing papers and need to have credible sources, a lot of times they just need all the information they can get, including history, more detailed information on Outlook, and so on. And so you do have this option for view full article, and you can click that. And then as you can see, you have something much longer, but the information is more robust. It's more full in this case. And so that can get students on their merry way to writing their career guidance papers, which again, a lot of first year college students have to do those types of papers. So keep Ferguson's in your little toolbox. Let's see some of the other neat things they might have here. I'm not going to go into the Plan Your Education, but it is good for them. This is, back in the day, we used to have these actual books that used to have like profiles of all the different colleges in the country, and you could see things about the college, including acceptance rate, demographics of the college, what majors were offered, and so forth and so on. And now, I'm sure those books are still printed, but I haven't seen one in a while, but you would use something like a school search, Plan Your Education type resource in order to select a college in this case. We do have resources for resumes and cover letters, so actually that might even be useful to, I hate to say it, but some of our Mizzou graduate students who submit their resume when they apply for enrollment here at Mizzou don't necessarily have the best resumes. And so you can get some resume help here. I showed you that Learning Express Library also offers you some resume help, but when planning your career, it is good to have resources that teach you how to put together a good resume and a good cover letter. And you can Google that information, but I think it's also very appropriate to be able to just jump on a database for students who prefer things in the digital age and can interact with a database that they know is credible for that type of information. Okay. And actually, I think, again, if you want to learn more about Ferguson's, you can just experiment with it. But for the sake of not making this video too long, I'm just showing you all this for an overview of Ferguson's and when you would most likely use it in your professional practice. So let's look at the next database. Give me one moment. All right, my wonderful students, the next database that we are going to look at is going to be one of our Gale resources, Gale being one of the major vendors for library databases. And in this case, they are offering vocations and careers. So now I will say that also Academic Search Complete, or at some places Academic Search Premier, is also a good database to find your magazine and journal information on various career paths. But vocations and careers will narrow this down to things that are more helpful to vocational outlook and vocational guidance related to seeking out certain careers. So again, when I talk about things that are good to have in your toolbox, this is good to have in your toolbox. This is for students specifically who are looking, though, for sources as they are writing papers. This isn't as good as Ferguson's, as far as Ferguson's being a database that helps you actually pick out a career. This is more so if you picked out a career, then you can use vocations and careers in order to decide, or in order to gather sources for any sort of freshman comp paper that you're doing on your career choice. So I'm going to tell you really quickly how that works. And this one we should be out of much sooner. I'm going to make myself small here, and let's see. So we can go, and you can start out with this basic search, or you can click the advanced search. The basic search works just like Google. So I'm going to go into the advanced search here. And as you can see, this looks very similar to how advanced searches look in most databases. And what you can do is, let's say somebody wants to be a dental hygienist. So what they can do is they can go to dental, and you can put, I'm just making this up as I go along, but let's say you just want to go to dental hygienists, or, and let's make this actually the subject. I'm going to put, instead of and, I'm going to put or, dental hygiene. And that way your students can look for adjacent concepts, link them together, however they may want to do that. And I'm going to make that a subject too. And hopefully we're not going to get too many results. If we get thousands, it's too many. If we get one or two, it's too few. But then you have some further options down here. Search limiters, documents with full text. That's good to have for freshmen and sophomores, because the thing is, yeah, when you get to people who are juniors, seniors, grad students, you don't necessarily have to have the documents with full text option selected, because people can find things through interlibrary loan if they are not in the database specifically. But freshmen and sophomores generally are not going to mess with interlibrary loan. It's beneath them. They have things to do. They have parties to go to, beer to drink, and all that sort of stuff. So you might want to keep that checked for freshmen and sophomores, who are going to be the main ones using this particular database. And I would not, unless the students are required to have peer-reviewed resources, I would not limit to peer-reviewed resources. And then document contains images. I would leave that unchecked generally as well. We will leave all dates on for now, but if you want it to limit by date, and a lot of times students will need something within the last 5 years, then you can have something like after 2014 or something like that. But again, in this case, I will just leave it as all dates, and we will go into the search and let's see what happens. So we have just 7 things, and they're all magazines. So this is too few. So when you get too few, then what you generally would do is you would try to revise your search. I'm just going to hit the back button to do this. So I'm going to scroll back up, and let's just, instead of subject, let's just make it keyword. We'll leave it a keyword. Because the thing is, this database does not do as well as some databases, specifically things from EBSCO like Academic Search Complete, as far as doing subject delimiters that are really helpful in the search process. So now if I do dental hygiene or dental hygienists, and still keeping that or, and now instead of subject, I have keyword, I click search. Now I've got 45, which isn't great, but it's definitely not 7. And as you can see, well, actually, I don't have 45. I have 45 magazines. But in the previous search, if you noticed, I did not have academic journals, I did not have news, and I did not have images. So I actually have more than just 45 results. So actually, I've got 45 magazine results, but I've got a lot of results here. I've got 24 academic journals. So if they are looking for peer-reviewed things, those might be within the academic journals. So that's good. And then, of course, news items, those can be helpful, but they're usually not as helpful for career guidance papers as academic journals or magazines. So you can go into those and then just, select what you want to do. If you see this here and think that this is a good fit for what you're trying to do, then you can, and it probably wouldn't be given what you see here, but if it were, then, you have some options. You can store it to the cloud. I never use the cloud. I like to store all my stuff locally, but you can use the cloud, you can email, you can download, print, and that sort of thing. But you have options for saving these things. And then you have sample citations. But remember to let your students know that the sample citations are only right 80% of the time, which is not reliable, especially if you have a paper with 10 sources. And I can tell you that this is actually incorrect, because you would not write out the given first name. Actually, it should have her last name first too. So this is totally not correct for APA. And so just remind your students that they will need to double check their citations. So again, gathering sources is generally what vocations and careers is useful for. So we have one more thing to look at, and I'm going to let you go about your merry ways. Okay, so the last thing we're going to look at, and this is a very neat database that would take forever. It could be like a 2-hour check-in video of its own. So it's very neat, but if you want to learn what's in it, you are really going to have to put the time and investment into finding out for yourself. And that's lynda.com. And actually, a lot of people nationwide actually have like Lynda descriptions that they pay for out of pocket because Lynda's so awesome. But when you have, when you belong to a really good library system like Mid-Continent Public Library, then you can access your lynda.com through your local library. So we're going to go into this guy here. See if I can plug my library card number in there. There we go. And then password. Okay, that should not be happening. Give me one moment. Okay, I got past that little snafu, and now I am in lynda.com, and Lynda is offered through LinkedIn. And so it used to be that you actually needed a LinkedIn profile as well. Like at first you just needed a Lynda profile, and then you needed LinkedIn when LinkedIn took it over, and now you don't need LinkedIn anymore. But the reason Lynda is so awesome is because remember when I was telling you all about how you could use the Database Learning Express library in order to learn different skills? Well, Lynda just blows that out of the water. I mean, like for instance, if you want, there are courses you can take in Lynda. Like let's say you want to take some business courses, or some, you know, whatever. You could learn, become a small business owner, for instance. This is one of the more popular ones. In fact, I know somebody who opened up a small business in Kansas City, and I actually helped her do her research on opening the business. But I also pointed her in the direction of lynda.com so she could learn some skills and tactics to become successful in that business. So become a small business owner. You can come in here and you can see there are 11 courses. You can select that, and you can go into your courses, and this will tell you what the course is, a little description, how long the course would be. You can have a preview and that sort of thing. And if you want to start the course, then
for many, the idea of starting your own business is really exciting. You can create your own freedom and your own destiny with your career.
Get out of him.
But for
okay, so you can just start the course, and I didn't realize it was just going to start the course right on me like that. But that's what it did. And as you can see, like I said, some of the courses, as you can see, this course here is very small, very, very quick, 14 minutes. But then you've got this course is 1 hour and 13 minutes long, and so forth and so on. And you have courses that are kind of continuing courses. Let me go back to the main page here. So in addition to using this for things like starting a business, a lot of times what you'll see people use lynda.com for is to learn software applications. So, and that's when the courses can get really, really long. So, for instance, and people will come to you. People will come to you at a lot of these different places wanting help, especially with Excel. Like people figure out Word, you know, they figure out PowerPoint, they figure out, you know, those types of applications. But when it comes to Microsoft Excel, people a lot of times need some help. And as you can see, you've got Excel 2016 Essential Training, and people use this to learn how to use and master Excel. Now, this one is 8 hours and 53 minutes long. Might as well say 9 hours. So it takes a while. And as you can see, Photoshop, they've got a training module here that's 13 hours long. But the beauty of it is, like, people actually pay to learn these things, guys. And that's what I want you all to remember, is that some, you know, people will offer classes on how to master Excel or how to master Photoshop and charge you to pay those for, charge you to take those classes. And if you have a library system that allows you access to lynda.com, you can learn these things just through the tax money you've already invested in the library, and you can go ahead and take advantage of that and recommend to your friends. Like, seriously, a lot of times your friends will appreciate if you let them know. Like, if your friends are like, hey, I'm trying to learn Excel, you might see, I see people do that on social media. I'm trying to learn Excel. Can you recommend a book for me? And I'll go in there and I'll be like, hey, do you have lynda.com? Tell me what your local library system is. And I go in there and I see if they have it. And if they have it, I tell them how to use this and how to get on it and how to start learning on it right away. And people are very appreciative of that. So keep Linda in your bag of tricks. But again, because Linda has so much stuff, and there is a lot of stuff in here, you are going to probably need to spend a lot of time just learning how to use this on your own. Then there's one more thing I want to show you that isn't database related. Give me one moment. So this isn't a database, but this is still something that you're going to need in your toolbox. So when you are being asked for help with vocational guidance, another thing that people need a lot of times are stats. And so the Bureau of Labor Statistics actually makes the Occupational Outlook Handbook easy to find on Google for anyone. So just Google Occupational Outlook Handbook. You'll be taken here, bls.gov, OOH. Ooh, get it? OOH. Ooh, okay. That's why I didn't go into comedy. But you can go into this, and then again, you can select occupations by pay or by entry level or whatever, entry level education or what have you. And you can select occupations and just find information on, especially on Outlook, but you can get statistics and learn things. Actually, I'm glad I picked the L, even though I did that by mistake. So let's look at librarians. And so you can see here, median pay, again, know what median pay is, but we've got about 60,000 per year or about 28 per hour. This is wrong, but well, this says librarians and library media specialists, so that's why it's wrong. For librarians, unless you're in a state that only requires a bachelor's degree, most states require a master's degree to actually be a librarian, but you can be a paraprofessional a lot of times in a lot of states with just a bachelor's degree, or at times even just with the high school diploma. Now, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, as you can see, the job outlook is 5% growth in the library field, which is faster than average. So, you know, if somebody's telling you why are you going into libraries, they're not going to be library jobs in the future, just tell them to shove it. They have not actually looked at the Bureau of Labor Statistics information, and the government is saying that this is a growing field. Now, the reason why it's so hard to find jobs in libraries these days is because there are a lot of students in library schools and people are not retiring. There are really old librarians out here who need to retire 2 years ago and have not done it. But this field is not shrinking in the way that people will lead you to believe. So, you know, tell people who are pulling opinions out of their ass to just keep them there, okay? And so, yeah, just make sure that the Bureau of Labor Statistics Occupational Outlook Handbook is also something that you keep in your toolbox. Now, again, it used to be that this was in book form. I don't know if they still print the book, but it's very easy to Google, so do that. All right, I didn't think I was going to keep this under 30 minutes, so let's not tempt fate here. Let's just go ahead and cut it off. This is Dr. Jace. Next week is spring break. Enjoy spring break. There will not be a check-in video, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Later. Peace and grace. It's Dr. Jace.